Hey guys, Universal here, back for another video, and I know this is a lot earlier than I usually do my tier list videos, but after, trying out all the fruits, I do a 1v1s with a lot of the good people in the community. I get to see how these fruits fare against each other, and I think I'm about ready to make a general consensus about where I think each of these fruits should be placed in a tier list. Anyways, I'm going to try to make this as accurate as possible, obviously left being the best to right being the worst, and we're going to try to rank these as fairly as possible. Alright, so first off, I'm just going to go ahead and put this up here. This is the only one that's going in Z tier. Soul is by far the best fruit in the game. Nothing else competes with this if you're good at the game. If you are good at the game, you are going to beat everybody else or like with any other fruit. It is just that broken right now that like once you catch your opponent once, they will be losing at least bare minimum 800 to 900 HP, and even then there are some one-shot combos that people have found which I don't even want to discuss. It is literally disgusting. Alright, anyways, for our niche for S tier, I will be throwing leopard in there because leopard is absolutely disgusting now after all the nerfs to all the other mythicals, because Rokugan counters a lot, guys. A lot of people get mad at their little leopard damage nerfs, but leopard still has mostly like 700 damage combos, which is like the same amount of damage as like every other mythical's combo, but they just think because they're not doing 1000 damage every single combo that they're just not hitting hard. Plus leopard has extremely low cooldowns, and like I said, they have 2 iframes which can get you out of hella bad situations. And it's possible to somewhat combo extend off of both, by the way. I'm just saying. Leopard has a stacked kit, but most leopards just don't know how to use it. Next up, let me see. We got Dragon. Nah, I won't go for Dragon V2 yet. We're going for A tier. For A tier, I'll go for Light. Light's a really good, like a niche for A tier. It's a really strong fruit. It's more of annoying though because of the fact of how low the cooldown is for light flight, because every time you try to push a light after like they get done doing their attacks, they'll be flying away from you in like 0.2 seconds, and it's just going to be a game of cat and mouse. I literally watched a fight between a leopard and a light earlier, and that match took 9 minutes, and it didn't end because one of them killed each other. It ended because one of them got so bored they left the game. That's how bad it is when 2 good players like 1v1 and one of them is light. But anyways, that's just how I feel about light in general. Next up, we got B tier. Let's see. B tier, my niche. Let's see. Low key, I can hold down B tier with around. I'll go barrier. Barrier can hold down my B tier because barrier is really strong right now. I won't lie. It's nowhere near bad, and it does really well against a lot of fruits. All right, then we got C tier. What do I want to hold down my C tier? These are like more towards the bottom of the bottom fruits, but they can still be somewhat used. I'll go ice. Ice is really underpowered right now. A few changes to ice would make it really good, but at the same time, it's just not that good right now because it's really two-dimensional, especially with a lot of its skills traveling just straight forward or being really slow or just not having the best hitboxes. But anyways, that's my C tier staple, and then D tier staple. For my D tier staple, I will go rubber, regular rubber. Where are you? I don't see you. You're garbage. My eyes can't find you because that's how trash you are. Am I blind? I'm blind. Holy, where is it? Guys, I know you're looking. Okay, there it is. And then we got our chop tier, which, oh, wow, who would have guessed? Chop. All right, anyways, we'll go ahead and start at the B tier. I'll put something else in there to join it. At the top of B tier, I will be putting sand. Sand will be at the top of my B tier because sand is extremely strong right now, having like almost 0 cooldown on Desert Slicer, having the other 3 skills basically block bypass with the new Spada changes, making it almost impossible to avoid in most situations, making it extremely good. But yeah, sand really got some really good buffs in the recent update. Next up, let's see. We'll go Falcon. Falcon is a really good fruit. I'll put it like below. Ooh, no, I don't even want to put it above barrier. I don't think Falcon's better than barrier. I'll put Falcon below barrier. Falcon is really strong and it has really good combos. The problem with Falcon itself is starting said combos because of the fact that most fruits have a counter to a fruit getting close to it, such as Falcon. So it's an iffy fruit. Don't get me wrong, if you can land the combos do go crazy. But at the same time, if you're fighting any mode fruit, your combos mostly depend on M1s, and mode fruits walk out of M1s a lot, which really holds this fruit back. But anyways, it can get a good little stable spot in B tier. Next up, we got Dragon V1. I think I'm gonna put this on at the top of my A tier. It could go at the bottom of my S tier too. It's all dependent on the player, but Dragon V1 is a really, and I mean really strong mythical fruit. Like, actually, it's not gonna be at the top of A. Let me stop yapping. It's gonna be an A, but it's not gonna be at the top of A. But it's a really, really, really strong mythical or legendary fruit. My fault. Next up, we got Flame. Flame needs some buffs in order for it to like help keep up in current meta. I do think Flame is worse than Barrier, but at the same time, I do think a good Flame could compete with a Falcon, just because of the fact of like how a Falcon and any fruit below this would have to approach the Flame, and Flame's firepower just gives it a lot more leniency, I guess I would say, against the higher tier fruits too, because of the fact that it actually has range. So I don't know, that's just my personal opinion on it, but I do think Barrier overall is a better fruit. Let's see. Next up, we got Dark. I'll put Dark at like top of C tier. It's one of these fruits that's literally only good if your opponent doesn't know how to use their F button. Luckily, they fixed the thing with people blocking in the middle of Dark Hall, which is a really nice change. But at the same time, countered by F button, if you just hold your F button, a Dark will never combo start on you, and it is literally the funniest and saddest thing to mankind to watch when they try to attack you. Next up, let's see. I'll go Venom. I'm putting it in S tier. I could argue it above Leopard, but it's a really hard argument, and after the geyser nerfs, I don't really want to put it above Leopard right now, because Leopard has so much counterplay to literally every single fruit. You do an attack, you have Rokugan on you in the next 2 seconds, and there is like almost zero counterplay to that with most fruits. So, you know, I'm gonna leave Leopard like a higher than Venom for now. I do think a good Venom user can beat a good Leopard user, which is why they're in the same tier, but more times than not, I'll probably put my money on the Leopard user. Let's see. Next, we got Goro. This will probably be at the bottom of my S tier. Not because Goro in itself is bad, it's because like of the Raigo like getting like kind of gutted, I'm not gonna lie. Or Goro's probably gonna catch some fat buffs in the next update, and the fact that you can still block mid Lightning Palm just completely screws the fruit over. So until these changes get fixed, I could definitely argue it for A tier, by the way, just because of the Lightning Palm thing. Like, people blocking midway through your combo is insane. But, you know, I'll give it like benefit of the doubt. Let's say you're fighting somebody who's like having an honorable match and they're not blocking midway through your Lightning Palm. It's still a pretty decent fruit. Let's see. Actually, I'll just give it top of A, just because I'll just give it top of A. Let's see. Next up, we got Ice V2. I don't think Ice V2 is better than Goro. I think it's possible to argue Ice V2 against Dragon V1 for sure, because of the fact that of how close a Dragon V1 has to get, but I promise you I cannot argue an Ice V2 against something like Light. Light absolutely destroys, because Ice V2 has no way to handle somebody being in the air, and a lot of the fruits at the top tier have a way to get in the air, and Ice V2 doesn't have a way to handle that. So just for that reason alone, I'm gonna put it right in front of Light, just because of the fact that it can handle fruits like, actually no, because Light can handle fruits like Leo too. I'm putting Ice V2 right below Ice, or right before words. I'm gonna put Ice V2 right before Light, Let's take a second to collect ourselves and, you know, use words properly. I'm gonna put Ice V2 behind Light, just because of the fact of its versatility is really low. The 2 skill doesn't combo extend anymore as well, because of the fact that it got stun reduction on it, and because of the fact that the Ice V2 combo just doesn't deal enough damage, in my own personal opinion, if I'm being honest with you. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on to the next fruit, because I just had a mouthful in that last one. Next up, I'll do Paw. I do honestly feel like Paw is better than Flame, but I do not feel like Paw is better than Barrier. Barrier right now is just really strong. If you watch my Barrier versus Love video, you would know why. 1000 damage Barrier combo, go crazy. That it was not a fun combo to eat. But, you know, that's very situational depending on the fruit you're fighting. Not many fruits have it to where you can actually go for M1s against them safely, especially the mode fruits with their increased movement speed. So it's really situational depending on when you can actually do that. But in general, Barrier just has a lot of counterplay to like most things that a freaking Paw fruit can do. So it's like it's weird because I do think a paw fruit would also beat sand like relatively easily because you can stay off the ground relatively easily. But it's really just dependent on matchups too. So I think like it's like genuinely like you can put it anywhere within this area. But for my personal experience with people using the fruit, I would put it right here. Next up, let me see. We'll go smoke. Smoke's a pretty good fruit. Definitely not bad by any means. I'd say it's arguably worse than paw, but I don't think it's worse than. Actually, no, I do think it's worse than flame. I think in a like just a straight firepower battle, like the smoke would lose because the flame can just zone the smoke, and then they would just lose to like just getting like burned over time, eating things like the beam, which has an extremely low cooldown and such. So I think I'll put smoke right below flame, but I do think smoke could take Falcon just because of the fact that Falcon literally has to get close to do basically anything, and smoke has whiteout to punish that every single time. So yeah, I'll get about like that ranking right there. That should be fine. Next up we have gas. Gas is a really gas fruit, no pun intended. It is extremely broken. I think I might put this at the bottom of my A tier. I definitely think gas is better than sand. If you saw my I've literally beat Dragon V2s with gas just because of how good it is right now. If you know how to use relaxing gas and then you know how to run away and counterplay with your suffocation and stun trade whatever your opponent tries to push with, like while you're waiting on your relaxing gas cooldown to come back, you can do extremely well with this fruit, and it's extremely well in counterplaying your opponent. So it's definitely one of those uncommon fruits that if you get it and you level it up, if you get actually good at the game and you actually know what you're doing, you can beat a lot of high tier fruits. Let's see. Next up, I haven't done a high tier fruit in a while. Let me get Ope. Ope, really strong fruit. Overall, Ope is definitely one of the stronger fruits in the game. I do think it has enough versatility to be considered higher than something like Venom, because Venom's low mobility currently, and the fact that the Geyser got nerfed kind of holds it back in some fights, while Ope against lower tier fruits, kind of like once you're in the room, you kind of like own that area, and most of the lower tier fruits don't have counters to things like Shambles, like they can't really close the gap as fast. So it just kind of keeps Ope like really high above like Venom in terms of fighting lower tier fruits. But either way, you could give it to either one of them. Like personally, for me and my experience, I'm way better with Venom than I am with Ope, and I have beaten Venom Ope users with Venom too. So I mean, it's like all up to your own discretion. Next up, let's see. I'll go Gravity. Gravity got some really good buffs, making it pretty strong. I'll put it like right here above Dragon V1. Gravity is really great at zoning, like especially these fruits right here. It is extremely great at zoning the things below it. They don't really have a great way of approaching, especially now with the new freaking stun added to the ultimate. You can actually go for M1s, use the ultimate, go for more M1s. They'll be stunned for like God knows how long. You could get like another launch back up, go into your planetary devastation. Hopefully they don't punish you, because planetary devastation windup is actually it's horrid. It's like it's really bad, and I like there's no, I don't know, like the owner needs to like speed it up or something, because you get punished for using it every time. And for some reason, if you launch into the planetary devastation, for some reason they're able to block the big explosion part, negating 160 damage of your move. So it's like it's really dumb. But anyways, Gravity gets a pretty solid spot up there at the top now after the buffs. Let's see. Next up we got Phoenix. I definitely think Phoenix is better than Gravity. Honestly, with how current Goro is, with people blocking mid lightning palm, Phoenix is definitely better than current Goro. Especially with the fact that you can also fly out of Crushing Judgment. If you didn't know that, it literally only happens with Dragon V1 and Phoenix most of the time, because of those two have the fastest movement in game. But because of the fact that they can do that, it makes them really good at fighting Goro, and I mean really good. But Phoenix in general is also just a really strong fruit. The combos hit hard, and Hawk Rush is fast as hell, and your base movement in general is fast as hell. But anyways, that's enough for Phoenix. Next up we got Quake. Personally, this is just me, I have Quake like down here, right? Because the thing about Quake is it's super strong with its new combo with like landing a Sea Quake, but like you kind of have to start the combo with Sea Quake. That's the only problem, because landing slam against anybody with even a smidget of game knowledge is still basically impossible, even with the movement speed buff, because of the fact that it's so easy to either Soru out of the way or just use a move in general to just stun trade the like freaking slam. So it just kind of holds Quake back. Hopefully we get like a Quake V2 or something, because it just needs it, I'm not gonna lie. But you know, I still do love Quake. I love to use the fruit myself, but I just know when it has its weaknesses. Next up, we got string. String, personally, I could put it like around right here. I could put it above gas, to be honest, because you know, string's actually really strong. I don't think string is better than light. I don't think string is better than Quake, and I don't think string is better than freaking Ice V2, because of the fact that like the clone would just get the hell countered out of it, and if you try to overheat whip on top of them, they're gonna absolute zero you, and then you're just fried at that point. So you know, overall, I think Ice V2 is just a really good like neutral counter to string in general. But at the same time, if you're a good string, I do think you can beat an Ice V2. Don't get it twisted. That's why they're right next to each other, because you know it can go either way. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on from that. Next up, we have Gear 5. Personally, I'm gonna put Gear 5 around right Q. I could put it above Leopard in my own personal opinion, but that's just my own personal opinion, so I won't do it. More times than not, well, it depends on if you're fighting a smart Leopard. Gear 5 is kind of countered heavily, because you kind of have to depend on Kaminari like really heavily, and all they have to do is Rising Claw combo or Rokugan the second they see you pull out the Kaminari, and they can just iframe it, and then there goes your best combo starter. So it's really iffy when you're fighting a Leopard. I'm like, most people don't realize how broken Rokugan is, but it's like one of the most annoying moves in the damn game, and it genuinely makes my brain hurt trying to play around it, I'm not gonna lie. But you know, overall, Gear 5 is still really strong. The combos do hella damage, and the only real downside is the inconsistent fling. You know, shout out to the Ope versus Gear 5 video, when your opponent gets sent halfway across the map every time you try to do your combo. But anyways, let's move on to the next fruit. Next up, we got love. With love, I think I could give it slightly above Quake. This is where I think I'd put love, because love just it does better in general against the higher tier fruits than Quake does. Quake is just like, if you can manage to get a C-Quake off against a higher tier fruit, you could do pretty good. But at the same time, if they know the C-Quake's coming and they stun trade you, there goes like your main source of damage and like your really highest damaging combo, because landing slam just isn't a realistic possibility against most fruits, I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, next up, let's see. TS Rubber. Really strong legendary, especially with the mode that's been recently getting buffs. So, you know, honestly, I could put TS Rubber about right there, because some people think, oh no, love's definitely better than TSR. No. If you play smart, you're gapping a TSR with love. Like I mean, not TSR with love, you're gapping a love with TSR, because the second they go for heartstrings, you jet pistol, the heartstrings is gonna miss you because it tracks all the way towards you, and then it would have to travel all the way back to where you just teleported. It's not gonna reach in time. The heartstrings is gonna get canceled, and then you're gonna start comboing them, and you're gonna go crazy on them. There's also the mode, which has been slightly getting better and better. It's now usable. It still needs a slight buff to be considered better than the base, but it's now usable against other modes, and it really helps, especially in like a lot of situations like Dragon V2, or fighting like something like I don't know, like freaking Venom or something, and it does pretty well in those fights. But overall, I don't think it's definitely not higher than Dragon V1. Dragon V1 counters the hell out of it if you know what you're doing, and every mode fruit can passively dodge jet pistol by just running around because of their base movement speed, which is an insane nerf to TSR, but it's a really sad fact, but it's just a true one. Next up, we got Doe. People sleep on Doe. Realistically speaking, I want to put it at the top of S tier, just because I know people who could do a consistent one-shot combo with it, and the anemone range buff on it, like oh my god, it's so disgusting. It's like so disgusting. It's so good at catching people and starting combos with too. It's like, oh, it's perfection, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm glazing a little bit, but I ain't gonna lie, it's such a nice feature. But Overall, dough is just really good. It can handle fruits like leopard extremely well with how close range they have to get. I'm gonna be honest, everything in S tier is interchangeable to however you would like it, because this is just from my personal experience. I feel like everything in S tier is all around each other, and it just depends on who plays better in the match. Besides like Soul, which is above them, and Goro, which is below them. All the mythics are pretty much balanced with each other. Then we got Dragon V2. I'll give Dragon V2 the number 2 spot. You have to be really good with it though to get the number 2 spot, because Dragon V2, like after the nerfs, is definitely way harder to combo start with now, especially with the Twister being blockable, Beast Bellow having its in lag now, and you actually have to play smart to use Dragon V2. I know those are crazy words, I know, but like I literally beat a Dragon V2 with gas because of the fact that he wasn't using the fruit well. Like that's literally how it is now. Like you can't just turn off your brain, just start spamming moves with Dragon V2 and get free wins. Anyways, next up we got Bomb. Bomb's a pretty decent fruit, I won't lie. It has an infinite combo, I'll give it that. It has an infinite combo, and it's an annoying infinite combo. But against anything in the higher tiers, the infinite combo doesn't really work that well. Especially with the people in the lower tiers who know how to counter it. But in general, the infinite combo is pretty annoying. So if you're a bomb who knows how to do the infinite combo, and trust me, the infinite combo is consistent. I've been hit by it. It is the most disgusting thing to get hit by in the game. So I'll give it top of B tier for that, just because of the fact that it has an infinite combo. But that's the only reason it's at the top of B tier. Next we got Magma V2. Arguably still the best legendary because of the fact it's just like, if you don't, okay, it's pretty decently easy to counter if you know how to block the one skill, but it's just the fact that Magma V2 is basically just a slower version of the Dough Fruit overall, and it's just a better version of Magma V1. So it's just like, it's still really strong. You have to be careful with how you play, because it's really good at stun trading. It has a way to catch people in the air. It has like a whole bunch of options, I'm not gonna lie, and that's what just keeps Magma V2 really strong, because it's versatile. But I could definitely see Phoenix being above Magma V2 if you wanted to make that argument. I could also see Goro being above it if it wasn't for the lightning bomb thing. Then next up we have Magnet. Magnet is a pretty strong legendary, but the fact that it has such a slow start, like in terms of the fact that your opponent can kind of just approach you without sorrowing, and if they have a TP skill, the second you try to like stop them from approaching you so much, they can just dodge your skill by TPing above you or to you. It kind of just nerfs the whole strategy of Magnet in itself. Don't get me wrong, Magnet is still like a really strong fruit, especially with the ult and stuff, but it's just countered by a few too many things in my personal opinion. So I put Magnet about right here, right above Love. That's in my personal opinion. And lastly, we have Magma V1. Not a bad fruit, but not a great fruit. Definitely doesn't deserve to be too high, but it still doesn't deserve to be too low. So I'll put it like right here with Paw. I think it's slightly worse than Paw in my personal opinion, just because of Paw's air mobility and like means to get around. But you know, you could swap it either way. I wouldn't really care. I think it's interchangeable. But anyways, there goes my 20-minute yap. You now have your tier list. For those who've been wanting it and who keep pressuring me to make it. And okay, let me just go ahead and explain the tiers real quick. Z tier, this is Soul. It's because Soul is the best fruit in the game. It still needs nerfs. The nerfs didn't fully fix it, but it's not that bad. But at the same time, it's clear that it's better than every other fruit that's below it. S tier, all of these fruits, you could change this in whatever order you liked, and I would still say that's pretty valid, because all of these fruits are basically even. They're literally all basically even. It just depends on whoever plays better is going to be the winner. That's literally all it is with this category of fruits. This category is, if you're really good with these and your opponent is kind of niche with these, you can beat them. And even if your opponent is good with these, you could still beat them with these if you're like just really, really, really good at the game. But then we have our B tiers. These are going to get beat by the S tiers for sure most of the time. You can put up a decent fight against the A tiers if they don't know like your counter strategies, because most of these fruits right here, a lot of people don't play them. Lots of people don't play these nowadays. So knowing the strategy on how to fight them isn't really that common. So you can usually catch a few people off guard with these and you can kind of go crazy. We have C tier. These fruits just don't have enough versatility to be present in the meta at all. If they can barely fight against these fruits right here, and most of the times they just kind of get destroyed in general. And then we have D tier, which is Rubber. Rubber's it's just bad. And then we have Chop, which is we don't speak on Chop. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much it for the video. That's pretty much it for the tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think personally for where you would put some of this stuff on your tier list. Where would you put love? Where would you put leopard? Where would you put paw? But anyways, that's for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys in the next one. Peace.